Hello everyone! So we needed some plant supplies, but we are still not being able to drive long distances for health reasons, so we had to order from our local-ish garden center. We got the supplies we needed, and then I noticed they had a Macodes petola in stock. I called them to know if they had any others in store, because this store unfortunately doesn't place even a tenth of their stock on the online store. And they had a bunch more, and that's why we're making this video. We finally have some jewel orchids. So first we got some peat moss and perlite, so we can refresh our carnivorous plants. I also got some soil and cocoa peat for our aroids. It's the first time we're repotting them, so we're going to be experimenting a little bit. We also got some pots because we're repotting a lot this year and you can never have too many of those. And some extra fertilizer. In terms of plants, we also added a small begonia. The tag says it's Begonia rex, but in the online store it was identified as Begonia Amphioxus. It arrived a bit worse for wear, and this one is supposed to be a bit fragile, so I can't promise this one will last, but we'll try our best. We also had to add something to our Peperomia collection. Even though these are tricky and we've lost at least a third of them, I really like them, so I'm gonna keep trying. And now the stars of the show, the jewel orchids. First, the Macodes petola. The leaves are so fuzzy and kind of shiny, absolutely beautiful. The plant looks great. I love the little leaf roll on top. This plant looks a lot less green than I expected. I saw it look like this in the online store, but I thought it could be the lighting. Turns out, the plant is in fact a lot less green than we've seen before. I know the Macodes petola has a gold variety, so maybe that's what this is? If you know, please let us know. I really hate having mislabeled plants. This one came potted in peat and perlite. The care for these seemed really straightforward to me. Warm temperatures, low light, if you can get higher humidity, great. But the trickiest part seems to be that it needs even moisture. Can't be dry, can't be wet for too long either. It only came with 2 roots and one of them is dead, so not great. Even though they are referred to as a terrestrial orchid, everyone seems to have different mixes for it, mostly based on epiphyte mixes. Some people do half peat, half perlite, like we do for our carnivorous and African violets. Others do pure sphagnum. Others air out the sphagnum with a little bit of bark and perlite. We don't really know which one would be best for us, so we're going with a mix of everything, and correct it later if it dries too quick in the summer or gets too soggy in winter. We're using this small takeaway container that Jay made some holes in because we didn't want to use a small pot. Since this plant has a creepy growth pattern, the small pot wouldn't last very long, and like this it will have more substrate and not dry out too fast. I placed some sphagnum on top because I like the look of it, and honestly it just felt right. I just can't get over how gorgeous the leaves are on this one. Next we have an Anoectochilus, another jewel orchid. Also really gorgeous. This species is called pink-veined jewel orchid, but maybe because this is the gold bar variety, I don't see any pink veins. This one came potted in sphagnum, so it was hard telling apart the roots from the strands of sphagnum moss. And I still don't know if that one root it came with was just sphagnum or not. We couldn't find as much culture information for this one as for the Macodes, especially not relating to the specific species. From what we could find, it's not that much different from the Macodes. Maybe it can dry out a bit more, but still has to be overall moist. So we're using the same mix for this one and the same pot. Another beautiful plant. And that's our new jewel orchids. I repotted the other two plants quickly, and now we're going to place them all on our shelves and give them a bit of water. These were clearly propagated recently by the lack of roots, so we're going to have to keep an extra eye on them. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. And if you want to know how these orchids fare and the rest of our collection, consider subscribing to our channel. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.